This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and we're back for another week of great conversation with the community. And thank you to Big Black Gaming for kicking us off with Prime Resub. Thank you for 17 months. We do appreciate that as always. One of our awesome team members there, BBG. Good to see you, brother. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys have had a great weekend so far. It's been a busy weekend, as you guys know. Update 3. Or patch, I should say, patch 3.18 finally released. In fact, Envoy, thank you as well. Thank you for that sub. Good to see you as well. I haven't seen you in a bit. Thank you. Or at least if you've been here, you haven't been in chat much. At least maybe I didn't see you, but thanks for dropping the sub to us. As you guys know, this weekend, I keep saying update, patch 3.18 finally arrived. A lot of folks have been waiting on it, and it finally got here. And so we decided I decided today that, as you guys know, we usually talk about Spectrum, Reddit, or things that are in the gaming world, gaming industry. And so we're kind of wrapping this conversation more around topic 3 today, which is the gaming industry and the impact of update, or I couldn't say an update, patch 3.18. Okay. We're going to be covering what was announced over the last 24 hours, and what really would like to have you guys do is to come in and talk to me about your thoughts and feelings regarding what CIG has unleashed into the gaming world, and especially unleashed into the community. I have not had a chance to play it. As you guys know, a lot of folks are trying to log in yesterday evening for hours, literally. There were issues with the patcher, getting the download. It was a pretty big download. Then once folks got in, it was doing a little quirkiness. Then there was a whole going into a queue, waiting literally minutes, if not hours for some people. And finally, some folks got in. As things start to even out through the day, I think they were just kind of rationing how folks were coming in instead of everybody just kind of crashing their servers at one time, which was frustrating for some folk, but eventually folks got in. And I saw some streamers who were going to quit and come back today, and they came back later and they got in, Captain Richard being one of them. Some people got some good playtime in last night. So we're going to be covering that today. And what I want to do is kind of cover the videos that CIG how they introduced it to the community yesterday, some of which was stuff that most of which was stuff we knew about, but they did do some visual introductions. And the reason why I'm kind of tying it into the gaming industry is more and more people outside of our community are finding out about Star Citizen, even though Star Citizen has not really been officially advertised in a big way. It's not really like they're running commercials all the time or in gaming magazines. There's, advertisements, things of that nature, online and offline. But my point is that there is a marketing that's taking place that is spreading beyond just us. In the beginning, I think when trailers came out, they were geared toward obviously the sale of ships and marketing toward those of us who back and support the game. But as patches started to evolve, we started getting these videos that were coming out that were like playable now. Nomad, thank you for that sub as well. Good to see you. I don't know if my sub stuff working. Is Ham over there? Yeah, where is there?
Thanks
Okay.
for the subscription.
And we started getting these like when an update would come out, CIG would make an official, commercial for it. And at the end of it, there would be like a, playable now, and then the link to go to the website and find out information about that patch. And so I guess in a way there is a marketing that extends outside of the community. So what we want to do is tackle the 3 videos that CIG put out yesterday, talk a little bit about them, get your response to them, maybe some Easter eggs that we see in these videos as well, maybe the controversy that surrounds them, and then we're going to talk about 318. So that's kind of the lineup for today. So today's show is titled Patch 318. Finally it's here. Okay, so without further ado, let's let me see if I got everything turned off and turned right here. Let's jump into our next page here. Let's talk about the first video that was released, or one of the videos that they were all put out around the same time within 2 minutes of each other. But let's talk about the first item that we knew about from back in the 3.17 day, which was the Drake Vulture. People had been looking forward to it. It was in the PTU. People had plenty of time to play around with it because it was the new salvaging ship in the game, even though the Reclaimer had been around for years. Obviously, the Vulture was the entry into the salvage career, and CIG did put a video together for it. If you haven't seen it, we're going to show it to you right now. Then we're going to come back and talk about it. Okay, so let's look at the video first, and then I'll bring the dialogue up, and I'll put the video back up again. Oops, wrong thing. Wrong thing again. All my buttons are assigned wrong. Let me see where my goofy my button assignment is. How did that get on that? That is definitely wrong. That's supposed to be on a video. Here we go. Let's try this.
Most folks, they see a wreck, and they just see a bunch of junk. Not you, though. You see a gold mine. You don't bother with a big, clunky rig. You don't need to. That's you, a wrecking crew of 1. Doing it your way. One crew's wreck is another pilot's riches. Stake your claim with the Vulture. Only from Drake.
Alrighty. That's the Drake Vulture. And in that video, they put a description there, and they got with this theme of the wrecking crew of 1. One crew's wreck is another pilot's riches. If you've got the right tools and attitude, become a wrecking crew of 1 with the Vulture. Only from Drake Interplanetary, power to the people. If you have had a chance to try out the Vulture, I would love to hear you come in and tell me your thoughts about it. But one of the questions I want to put out to you is, as CIG is doing more and more in the sense of revealing the vision that Chris Roberts has for this space world that we're living in, that we're going to play in, are you starting to feel like maybe you're seeing a little bit more of the bigger picture? It's one thing to think of salvage and say, oh, I'm just going to go out and strip ships and stuff. But then once you go out and do it, you start to see that it's a lot more than just stripping ships, right? It's tied into repair. It's tied into recovery of items. It's tied into economy. There's all these other things that are tied into, what's being revealed more and more. And as we get further and further into the development, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like things that maybe conceptions I had about what Star Citizen was going to be about, that it is an open world piece, but there's more to it. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Let's talk about the Vulture. Let's talk about what we saw here and anything else you want to share in relation to where we are with Salvage in 318. So we've got Red Bear 1 who is here, who hasn't been around for a little bit, but he's back. Red, are you there?
Yes,
Hey,
I'm here.
how are you?
Yeah, good. Good to be back.
Good to hear your voice.
Yeah. The Vulture. I thought it was a great little ship
Mhm.
to do solo content in. I tried it out myself. What you can do is, I liked a lot of interaction in ships. Let's say that first.
Okay.
So I actually like to get out of the chair, do stuff, and be busy. For some other people, it's busy work, but I like the interaction. So I have more things to do than sitting in the chair and then nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I thought the video,
Mhm.
the commercial they made for the Vulture was kind of funny, but you see that the person that jumped out of the Vulture, an
Mhm.
EVA out of it.
Yes.
That's not in, guys. That's not in. Don't go to Reddit. It's not in.
Well, you can jump out. You can EVA out of the ship.
Not this. Not like that.
You mean like the way they did it? Oh, yeah. Oh, I get what you said. Yeah. They did the whole flying out thing. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Yeah, that's true. That was a little bit of a stretch. I agree.
Yeah. It was nice to see, though.
Yes.
If it comes out, I'll be the first to test it as well.
Yeah.
If I can.
Red, let me ask you a question. When you got in the Vulture, was Salvage exactly what you expected, less than you expected, or more than you expected? The whole process. The process.
The process I thought was pretty nice. I didn't know actually what I had to expect. I know there was the beams in that people don't like. And some other people are like, well, it's so many so many years in the future. What does it matter?
Right.
It's like almost everything is a beam. Like Star Trek phases, they use it for everything. But I thought that the little nice thing in the Vulture was also you can create stuff. The first step to manufacture stuff for yourself.
Okay.
And maybe sell, but at the moment it's not really worth to sell because to make one of those what's it called? Those multi-tools.
The multi-tool.
Yeah, costs way too much
Material.
I mean, you get like 7K for one box, and it costs almost one box to make one multi-tool. So that's not really worth it, right?
Right. Yeah, people. I think when they've done salvage, if they max out a Vulture, if you stack it to the core, I think you make over $100,000. But that's you've got to stack it, on the grid as well. I think those extra spaces, and which a lot of people do, right? Which a lot of people do. I thought that it's interesting to me. One of the things that a lot of people, when I talk to people, like what was their response to the Vulture and salvaging, one of the main things I heard people tell people was it's relaxing, which was interesting. It is intensive in the sense of course, you got to stay on your guard, paying attention if anybody's around you. But there is this thing for some people who look at it as almost like a calming career, just something you can chill and do.
I think it's also very important to have different careers in Star Citizen to give you something else to do than only shooting. I mean, shooting is fun, but it only brings you so far before you get burnt out. And I think change of pace, like the salvage, and other people use mining for that matter, to get a bit distracted from the normal gameplay they normally like.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Red. Appreciate you, man.
No
Thanks
problem.
for coming in. Good to see you again, as always. All right. Next up, we have Fist Two Face. Let's bring Fist in. Fist, how are you?
How are you?
Happy Saturday.
You too, and everybody out there tuning in.
Yeah.
The Wrecking Crew of One. I I like that title.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, too, I kind of think of this field now, as I thought about it the other day, of salvaging, as you are the custodians of space.
Okay.
And I don't say that as a bad thing, but I
Uh-huh.
say that as when you really think about it, that's really what you're doing. A big war breaks out, a bunch of ships and debris like that, stuff like that, are sitting around in orbits of planets. I mean, shoot, enough of it piles up. I would assume that would be, become depending upon if the systems can handle it. Could become detrimental to gameplay as well as to, folks trying to do certain things around in certain areas. So I think it's a great field when you look at it, as far as like you spoke of earlier, from the point of fact of the synergy to the other careers, and just remembering that this is what tier 1, tier 0,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah. I mean, you look at how far they've gone with mining. And we haven't even gotten to the asteroid mining parts to it too.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now I don't even know where the sky is. Do we have a sky? I mean, we're in the universe, so where is the ceiling or bar?
Yeah.
For this career and everything. So
have you had a chance? I know you went on the Reclaimer. Have you had a chance to go out in the Vulture yet?
No, I didn't. What did we get a chance? I don't think I did.
Okay. I know you got to do the Reclaimer. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to try it. I really would love to hear what your thoughts are of when you get to see what the mechanics are and how you do it. Because like you said, this is still early, version of what we don't know how far they'll take it. They may take it 2 steps. Like you said, mining went about 8 more steps. Who knows how many steps they're going to do with this. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are when you get out there and try it out.
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely will tell.
All right, cool.
All righty.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you again for dropping in.
All right. Thank you.
Next up, we've got Pops in Space. Let's bring in Pops. And by the way, Coffee Gaming, thank you so much for that resub. Don't forget to reach out to me. Remember we talked about something last week. Drop me a message so we can make that happen, okay? Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Hey, Pops, how are you? Happy Saturday to you.
All right. Thank you, and you too,
yes,
and
sir.
Everybody else out there. Enjoy waiting in line if that's what you're doing, trying to get into PTU. And go in, have fun, and enjoy.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about the Vulture so far with the commercial, all this stuff that you saw?
Yeah, well, hey, first I want to say, CIG knows how to make ship videos. For sure. I don't know. They must sprinkle some kind of magic in it because it makes you want to buy it. Every time you see one, it makes you want to buy, even though you don't need it. You've never been interested in it.
But you got to hide your wallet every time, right?
Yeah. You got to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I've been wondering about this, and all of the space junk that's already in the game. Can we do anything with, those parts that you see when you're going to do the mission and you're flying by them and weaving past them? I'm just wondering, are they going to keep that there and allow people to, salvage those things? Or are they just going to wipe them out, and then, it's going to be kind of like this waiting game for wreckage to happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting point that you make of that. There were some complaints in the PTU, and I'll tell you what one of the interesting complaints was. There were times when there were battles that there was so much wreckage, it was difficult for people to navigate, pilots, combat, you know what I mean? It's something else to think about, right? Like when we played an Arena Commander, there'd be like a little wreckage, it would disappear, maybe the little target thing, that was it. But the wreckage aspect of it is, first of all, there's a reality side to it, right? If there's going to be all these battles out there, there's going to be wrecks, right? Now, is there a pro and con to that? Yes and no. The pro is that obviously it makes strategic gameplay become a factor, right? You've got to really start paying attention when you're flying. You don't have all the openness of space. You have, just like when you're in an asteroid field, right? You've got to navigate through it. obviously there's going to be impact on things like the servers, right? As far as persistence goes. And CIG has talked about, let's not even just talk about wrecks. They talk about something as simple as the bottles that people leave laying around, right? They've talked about that they are going to have a system that prioritizes how long certain items and their relevance in the universe, it will determine like how long something should stay, right?
Exactly.
So if there's a combat, like and like, let's say, for example, something happens in the system, there's a wreck there. Obviously, word's going to spread. They know players are going to go there to start doing salvage or retrieval or reclaiming or trying to snatch components. So I would think there's a priority level that says those wrecks would be able to stay out there for a certain amount of time. Maybe what also stays are parts of wreckage that are relevant. In other words, if it's a wreckage that has components included in it, there's a certain percentage of hull that's there. Maybe those things remain. Other pieces of things that have blown off that there's nothing there that can be really scavenged or taken from, maybe those only stay out there visually for 10 minutes and then they disappear, but those more important pieces stay, right? So CIG can come up with tier levels of those items that can remain in an area for a certain amount of time. That could even happen to just your own personal ship. It gets disabled. We talked about this before. How long does your ship stay out there? Does it stay out there 2-3 days, 24 hours? Does it stay out there for 3 weeks? A lot of it's going to be contingent upon what they're able to make the persistence and the servers and everything else, so the game performance, that's the real issue. How does stuff start to impact game performance?
Exactly. Because you and Grim brought up, and when it's, when Grim said it, he said that it may be moving forward to 4.0 may have to do more with persistence, and you're exactly right, Grim. That's a big thing they have to tackle, how long these things are going to be able to stay and how much stuff is going to be around. Because it can, but it looks to me like this is going to be, and don't sleep on it, it looks like to me this is going to be very, very lucrative. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Pops. Right. Appreciate you dropping in. Make sure you get in the vulture, brother.
I will.
All right. Last but not least, we've got Jay Voodoo Child dropping in. Jay, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you,
man? I'm doing good. What's happening? How was your Saturday?
Oh, doing great.
Good. I'm doing okay, man. You guys are here. I'm here.
Yep. So I just wanted to bring up a point or a reply to something you just brought up about how long will salvage wreck stay out there in space. About a month, maybe more ago, they were talking about crash sites and just a development of staging time on different degrees of decay and rotten, stripped out parts or what have you. I think that was already them thinking about what to do with wrecks in space and just how to slowly over time, reduce the footprint on their servers and whatnot. Obviously, if it gets as bad as having 100 piles of shirts on outside of the hospital, that sort of thing, they'll ramp up or do some systems or whatever to clean up excessiveness.
Right.
But I think they're already thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I found it interesting that, to me, hearing about those wrecks being in an area, I was excited by it, where other people were frustrated by it, because they couldn't pilot the way they wanted to pilot. They wanted, there was, and to me, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's what comes with the turf. I get it.
Exactly.
I'm kind of like, have we gotten so used to stuff disappearing that, now that it's becoming more real, for lack of a better term, real to life.
We go back to the old immersion standpoint.
It's kind of, it was a weird thing to hear. I was kind of like, oh, that's cool, and they're like, no, there's too many wrecks out there. I'm like, oh well, sorry, okay.
I can't fly full speed.
There you go. Right. All right, Jay. Thanks again, man, for coming in. Appreciate you. All righty. Okay, that was good stuff, you guys. Thank you. Okay, so the Vulture, it's out there. For those of you who are in the PTU, you remember it was really kind of buggy, had some weird things going on with it, but hopefully they've ironed it all out. I haven't heard anybody complaining about using the Vulture at all. The only bug I ever had with it was when I would try to get out of the pilot seat, sometimes it would eject me out the side door. and then I'd have to EVA back into the ship, and then I'd have to walk downstairs that way. It wouldn't let me get out of the chair like normal. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. But that was the only problem I had with it. As far as the salvage side of it and the mechanics and the machine downstairs and the compressor and all that, that all worked flawlessly. I had no problems with that. So I'm hoping that they've got the rest of it together. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Now, this one was definitely a little bit more controversial. Definitely want to hear your thoughts about it. Now that the ship is out, some people have had a chance to play around with it. Let's take a look at the Scorpius variant by RSI, the Antares. Let's take a look at that one.
All available pilots to the strip. Kill these flight. You are cleared for takeoff.
Julius flight. Engage burn in flight heading 110.
All right, here we go.
Launch the countermeasures.
Thanks for the assist.
Anytime.
Quantum jammers engaged.
Let's finish this.
Alrighty. The future of combat. Experience the future of combat as RSI unleashes the latest evolution in battlefield dominance. Redesigned to house a devastating EMP device and quantum jammer, the Antares shuts down enemy combatants, leaving them open to attack or boarding. Truly the keystone of a next generation battle fleet. Okay. This one, as you guys know, as I mentioned earlier, a little bit of controversy that was taking place when the ship was revealed prior to its release. Some folks were kind of like, you heard some of the, I'm sure you know some of the things that people were saying. Some of the things that people were saying were things like, well, you took away the turret. What does the second person do? Then when they found out, well, the second person handles the EMP and the quantum jammer. And then you were like, well, can they do anything else? And they're like, well, no, that's all they do. That was a problem. Then there was like, well, can the pilot do it? Can the pilot fly it single? And can they it? And then he said, no, you have to have a second person. So there's a lot of fluff that went up about this particular ship. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. If you had a chance to fly it, especially, I'm really curious. But let me go back and I'll bring, we'll do it back in the order. I don't know who was here first, but I'm going to do the same order I did before. I'll bring in Red Bear and let him start us out. Red, you there? I don't know if Red's there. Did Red leave?
Oh, hello.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, Red.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to fly the Antares.
Okay.
But I watched some videos about it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Where on one of those videos was from Avenger 1.
Okay.
And I actually agree with him. It's a nice ship, high speed, and you can go in and out of combat whenever you want. That's a big plus, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some people they complain that the guy in the back seat controls the EMP and these other contraption, the jammer. I think, well, that would make this ship a bit too strong and make the other ships a bit, useless. Yeah, no, you have the Mantis, you have the Cutlass Blue, and the Warlock, and that sort of stuff that need their place as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a ship that does it all, then I don't think Star Citizen will give it to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point. All right. Well, I hope you do get a chance to try it out. I thought this video, what Pops always says, how these videos make you want to buy something.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's one more thing. I think you should see this video and then first look the first commercial of the Scorpius and then put this one after that. Because I think it's this is actually after the first. So they lure this big ship into a trap, and as soon as they done that, they pick it up with the Antares and the Scorpius.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of went where I'm going to go, so I'm going to go. Since you already did it, I'm going to go to Pops or Fist, and I'll bring up my other thought. But you were going right down the road I was going, so thank you.
Sorry.
No. I'm glad you said it. I didn't have to say it. That's great. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Let me bring in Pops next. Pops, you there? By the way, you guys can come in and join. Feel free. There's a link there. You can come in. Give me your thoughts. This show is about hearing from the community more than hearing from me. So the more of you that come, the less I'll talk. So feel free to come in. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah, Pops, what's your thoughts on the Antares?
Yeah. One of the things I noticed that what was said, okay, one of the things I noticed is that he said, thanks for the assist. And to me, that makes me wonder about it. People mention about it being overpowered and so on and so forth. It may be that once that EMP goes off, your guns may have to recharge, because you think about it, we're going to have power. And I don't think you'll be, I would assume, I don't, that you're not going to be able to shoot.
No, let me
do it. No, go ahead.
Let me tell you when because I know you haven't had a chance to fly it, right? You haven't had a chance to fly. Okay. Let me tell you what they meant by overpowered. They're not saying that the ship in its current state is overpowered. What people were saying was that, because one of the big arguments that came up, and I know you may have missed it, Pops, was the fact that they wanted it so that the pilot could fire off the EMP and the jammer. And what people were saying was, if they did that, this ship would be overpowered.
Oh, one person.
Right. One person being able to do everything. That's what Red Bear was talking about. Because there were people saying, oh, the pilot should be able to do all, I don't want to make this sound bad when I say this. It's going back to the old argument about people wanting to be able to do everything themselves in their ship. And this isn't one of those ships that's there to do that. You know what I mean? So that was one of the concerns that people had. But yeah, there is impact when you fire off an EMP for sure on your ship, power-wise.
You're right. I think the whole point in making it a two and having it a two-person is that the pilot, now it also makes me curious, is this ship faster than the regular one? Because if you have to do all of that maneuvering, get in and get out quicker, it's really made, like I said, as a support. Move in, disable, keep going. So the pilot, in my opinion, has enough to deal with dealing with that dodging, moving, because if he, as a pilot, I mean, that's your priority. So if you're worried about, using the device itself, things can go wrong, but having two people really helps that out in my, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree with you, Pops, 100%. One of the things that Colossal said when he was talking about this ship, we were talking about, people talking about buying ships, and he said something about, no, it's not for me. He says, I see it more as a support role, to your point, what he said earlier about assist. The other thing, what I was going to tear off of what Red Bear shared was when I saw this commercial or this trailer, it put the ship much more in context for me. It showed actually a squadron of these ships working collectively to support what was going on outside, especially when they were going to approach the big mothership that was out there, right? And so that was the thing that I saw was, have you ever heard people talking about operating squadrons of EMP ships? You know what I mean? Because right now, when you go in, I've seen people go in with their single ship, and they go in and fly, they hit once, then they got to circle around, hit again. They have to keep doing that, right, to finally get everything reduced down. But what happens when you've got a squadron of 3 that are all coordinated, and they all go in, boom, and
Exactly.
hit. You see what I'm saying? So that's a different aspect of gameplay. You know, we've thought about bomber squadrons and fighter squadrons, but how about your squadron of EMP or dampening ships? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I think this goes back to that whole Chris Roberts theme of creating multiplayer gameplay where we're all cooperating with each other and working together to achieve stuff. Not that it's taking anything away from solo gameplay, but when you're going on this scale of playing, I don't think he wants to be one person is out there, you know, being freaking, for lack of a better term, you know, Anakin Skywalker. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think that's what he's trying to create in the game. You know,
Exactly, because I think this. You're exactly right. I think the second seat is going to be looking more at the radar, looking at other ships coming in. I think that pilot in that particular ship will have his hands
full, just navigating and trying to fly, right?
And navigating, and you're exactly right. This video brings it straight to its point and its use. It's going to be in big battles, and that pilot is going to be needing to be moving. And we already talked about the wreckage that's going to be out there, so he's going to have to deal with the wreckage too. While they're in fight. Yeah.
Good point. All right, Pops. Thank you very much, brother. All righty, good stuff from Pops as always, and we'll bring in Fist to Face next. Fist, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Okay, so for this ship, when it first debuted and we got news of it, I believe it was on one of Thursday's shows. And my point to this ship, which is the point to this game, made me say, I'm gonna reiterate it again. This is nailing down multi-crew. This is your first, you can say your first iteration of multi-crew where it matters. Because right now, you know, you get into a pilot seat of a Carrack, let's say, for example, and all of those stations, I mean, besides being a gunner or something like that, really doesn't have that much of a function, you know, that the other stations, you know,
they're not operating. They're just not all operating right now.
Exactly. So my thing in saying that, you know, because actually Ender told me to take the point, and this point, he said, you know, when you look at that co-pilot in the back, you know, he could be doing not just, you know, saying, hey, you know, all right, let me time this EMP. He could be doing a lot of engineering work. You know, fine tuning things, making sure things are correct. And for the pilot, this goes into the gameplay of communication and timing. However you want to do it, whether or not if you want to role play and really get your, you know, military jargon on in the ship, or just, you know, really having to hunker down on timing in the game and making sure you are communicating between each other. Because as we know that this game starts to develop more and more, death is going to be a big consequence. And if you are not in tune with each other, then necessarily got to be a bullet that'll kill you. You know, you could make one slider here and, you know, overheat a component, and that sort of chain reaction, boom, that's it.
So, good point. Yeah, the idea of the cooperative gameplay, communicating, coordinating, you know, and again, like you said, we don't know, you know, I haven't been in the ship yet. I don't know what access that I know they talked about the main things that they can do are the EMP and the jammer. I'm assuming usually in most co-pilot positions, you do have the ability to help with, you know, shield orientation power, things like that. So, you know, I do understand that there are people who, you know, they see the ship, it looks cool, throw back to Star Wars. I want to be Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? I want to be Luke Skywalker. You know, and I get it. You know,
I get it.
But at the same time,
you listen.
You don't want that OP side of it. You know,
let's kind of let's dispel whatever word you want to use to get it out your mind, throw it in the garbage, burn it. You're not going to take on the Death Star and Luke Skywalker this and throw your torpedo down the shaft and blow it up. And you're not going to be that hero. You're not going to be the solo hero. Just throw it out. Just throw it
Throw it away, huh?
Just throw it away.
Okay,
Just
fair enough.
crush that dream.
That's the advice. That's the advice to Fist, y'all. Just toss it away.
Just crush it.
Okay, thank you, Fist.
All right,
good stuff. All right, last but not least, let's bring in Kai Zin. Kai, hey, buddy.
Hey.
How are you? I got an Easter egg for you before you start, so don't forget your thought.
Yes, sir.
They showed a certain ship in this video. Did you see what ship they showed?
I did not. Which one did they show?
Ooh, I'm going to let this scroll. You guys, I want you guys to watch. Maybe somebody in chat can tell Kai what ship it was, but right at the very opening, it starts out with the ship. Mori says it. Yes, the Kraken is in this
Release
video.
the Kraken.
Yes,
Nice.
the Kraken.
Nice.
Yeah, so go ahead. What were you going to say?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but like, look, it frustrates the ever living hell out of me that 90% of the conversation about Star Citizen is entirely missing the forest for the trees. When they show a new ship like this, the Antares, everyone immediately looks at and says, how does this compare to what we have now?
Else.
Is it overpowered? Is it underpowered? How does this break the game? How is this the new meta? Which is absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
When you see a new ship like this, completely ignore overpowered, underpowered. This game is in development. It's going to have 100 different balance passes before it comes out.
Yeah.
The meta of today is irrelevant tomorrow. The meta of tomorrow is irrelevant a week after. Let that go. That's not what you're supposed to be looking at. When you see something new like this, instead of trying to measure, is this 2 miles an hour faster than the current motorcycle because we got to have the fastest motorcycle today, look at what does this bring to the overall game?
How does this add? How does this add to it, right? How does it add to it, right?
And not even add so much as how does this
complement
and how does this add complexity to the existing systems that say, oh, okay, this is new, whatever. So when you see a new refueler, when you see a new cargo hauler, when you see a new interdictor, when you see a new combat bomber, whatever, stop trying to just go, is A better than B? And look at, well, what does this mean for game loops, for future complexity, for interactions between two different types of game loops, for novel and unique interactions within a game loop that opens up new sort of corner cases and new whatever. That's what this is supposed to be about. This ship right now, I guarantee, and I've said it before, I literally have said it like on your show before. This ship is going to be overpowered. And then a month afterwards, it's going to get nerfed. And everybody's going to scream and cry and pull their hair out. And then 6 months from now, it'll get buffed. And then a year from now, it'll get nerfed. Don't get into that.
Yeah.
My favorite ship to this day, I love my Ares Ion. I know it's useless right now, but it's so pretty. And it will be useful by the time they're done doing all of their little balances, this, that, and the other.
Right.
It will have its place.
Right. Kai, were you here when I started the show? Or did you get here a little after it?
I got here a little bit after,
Okay,
just a little bit. I'm stomping around with robots.
No, well, that's fine because you went where I opened my opening question. Was or what I talked about was the more that things are coming out now for me, the more I'm getting a better idea of what Chris Roberts' vision of the game is. That it's not just about salvage, right? It's not just about scraping a ship. There's an economy. There's a whole lot of other things that come along with it.
Sure.
And to your point, when you said that when we look at this, instead of saying, is this the new flavor of the month? The question actually becomes, how does this add or how does this unveil even more of the world or the universe that Chris Roberts is trying to create? This is a ship I wouldn't have expected. Now, only because my limited thinking was, oh, we've got the Mantis, we've got the Sentinel, and we've got the Warlock. They probably, that's all we need. But then when I watch this and I see this ship come in, it's not even just the fact of saying, well, RSI needed their version of it. I'm seeing a different piece of gameplay with this ship than I see when I look at the Mantis or when I look at the Sentinel. You know what I mean? And so to your point, and you kind of hit what I was opening the show up with, was as we're seeing these pictures, do you sometimes feel like I'm starting to get a better grasp of what this universe is supposed to be? That's what I'm seeing personally, you know.
Yes and no. I'm getting a better grasp of what this universe could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the other plus and minus of a game that is in sort of perpetual development, is that you can lead yourself down many paths of what if, and some of them might be right, and many of them won't be right. And then afterwards, people will get mad and, you know, Chris Roberts didn't deliver this, didn't deliver that. And what they're really saying, in parentheses, is Chris Roberts didn't deliver the thing that he never promised, but it was in my head because I worked out this whole.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you've hit it on the mark, and I agree with you. That's the reason why I'm saying this is opening up more of what Chris Roberts wants.
Could be.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm saying what he wants, because you're right. Yeah. It's very easy for us to overlay. We'll see something and get excited. And based on our, you know, watching The Last Starfighter, we say, oh, that's what I want to do. You know, it's like, that may have nothing to do with the final direction of this game.
If you want to play Last Starfighter, Star Citizen is not a good game.
Yeah.
If you want to play Last Starfighter, I think Squadron 42 might be a great game for you if you want to play Last Starfighter. If you want to play Last Starfighter, play Elite Dangerous, play XCOM, play, or not XCOM, X4, play a single player game. Because if you want a power fantasy of being an indestructible god, you want a game that's broken, and broken games are super fun as single player games. Broken games are, sorry, but they're dog shit for a persistent universe that is supposed to balance out among a lot of people.
Right.
So like, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that power fantasy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be Alex Rogan and taking on Zur and the Kodan Armada all by yourself. But then go play a single player game and have fun with that.
And have fun, yeah.
I love you, brother. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Kai, as always. Okay. Last but not least, we got ODZ, who we haven't heard from in a little while. He was here a few weeks back. Odie, how are you?
Hey, Griff, how's it going, man?
Good. Happy Saturday, brother. What's going on?
Not a lot, man. I just I happened to like get on YouTube and I saw that you were streaming, so I was like, oh, let me hop in, see what's up.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So about you, are we still talking about the Antares?
Yes, the Antares. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, a lot of people have touched on it already, but I agree with anyone who says that you should not look at balance in alpha, especially because most balance will happen like late stages of beta.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
After all the systems are in, because I mean, we're still missing some. We don't even have resource management yet.
Right.
We don't even have armor. We don't have. I mean, and then remember, they still need to rework how EMPs will work once the resource management system's in.
Yep.
Right. Because then they're going to introduce things like batteries. So maybe you have to like, you know, move power from the battery into the shields or the EMP or, you know, the quantum disabler. Right. There's so many things to consider.
Yeah.
And this is another thing. Like, I think the problem that CIG run into is that a lot of people aren't playtesting this game. They're playing the game. But then in my mind, I'm like thinking, why are you playing this game? It's not even done yet, and nothing you do carries over.
So to your point, do you think it's a situation where people are, you know, they have it in their hands? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm in Test Squadron, right? And some people came in last week, you know, anticipating 18 coming out. They wanted to go in PTU. And their attitude about PTU, and guys, I'm not throwing no rocks at people who say this. So don't think I'm throwing any shade on you guys, those of you who say this. But they said, oh, I'm not going to waste my time playing the game because they're going to wipe it. They're going to wipe it. They're always going to wipe it.
Right.
So my response to them was just go in and play for fun. Don't go in trying to play to be a millionaire today. Just go in and play for fun. You know, enjoy the game. I think that your point is so well made that we have 3 items. I'm going to use the Antares, for example. We have an Antares that has 3 of the 16 items that Chris Roberts wants to put in it. And then we try to gauge the Antares on those 3 things. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot in the game that's not there. You mentioned it earlier, armor, all types of things, balancing, all types of stuff's not there. And sometimes players do try to gauge whether this ship or this mechanic is worth giving time to when it only has maybe 20%, 30% of what it's supposed to be. And I think that's why people get frustrated too. You know.
See, but that's the thing.
Let me say this last thing. I bought a Reclaimer years ago. A Reclaimer has done nothing other than look big for like 5 years. Did I get mad and say, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I didn't get mad and say, well, where are the drones? Where's that? My brain knows that one day those things are going to be working. You know what I mean? And I don't say the Reclaimer's no good right now. I may say you can't do a lot of stuff you want to do with it, but I have fun when I take my Reclaimer out. I do. You know, before the salvage. Go ahead.
You have a problem with how you're viewing this. You're viewing this logically, right? Remember, a lot of people that play these games, you know, whether you're on the pro or especially if you're on the con side, because I think you're a special kind of person if you're against something that's not even out yet. But anyway, that's another story.
Okay.
You're looking at it logically, right? You're looking at it like, hey, you know what? It doesn't have all the functionality that it could have, but I'm not here playing the final game.
Right.
I'm here playtesting an alpha build, right? I'm going to give them feedback so that when it comes time for them to implement all these other features and mechanics, that they have my input and I can help steer them in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't understand. You're playing this game like it's the final release. The game will not play the way it does in alpha. I don't know whether people, because I don't want people to like get it into their heads that, you know what, if I, you know, master the meta right now, I'm going to be good forever. No, you're not. And this is the thing. We probably don't even have the best players playing the game right now. Because remember, there's a self-selection bias right now.
Right.
A lot of people who are playing the alpha are like the diehard of the diehard who love the particular genre or want to see this type of game get made. They're not necessarily going to be the best players, right? And on top of that, a lot of things that we, you know, think is going to be like so monumental at release won't even be. Like, this is the thing. Mark my words. When release happens or after release, pilots are going to be the least available you know, position on a ship. People are going to be like LFG looking for pilots. You know?
Yeah.
Right now we have so many of them because that's, you know, they're all here, and that's the reason why everyone has like this, like power fantasy, like you and Kai were saying, right? I want to be the one who saves the day, right? This is going to be an MMO. This is not a single player game where you're like, you know, the focus of the story.
Yeah.
They're going to be a lot of other people, and you can't do everything. Otherwise, there's no point in it being an MMO.
Right.
Why do you need other people then?
That's true. Good point. All right,
Odie. One other thing.
Sure. Go ahead.
For the Antares, CIG have to give the co-pilot all the other stations. So the person who's in the co-pilot seat has to, at least right now, be able to use missiles. Yeah. Because I mean, from what I've saw, it's only the pilot that can use missiles.
Right.
The co-pilot can just use the jammer and the EMP. And that's not good.
Yep.
At least if they had missiles, it'll give them something to do. Other than that,
I want them to be able to do that, and I definitely want them. I hope that they can do power management and things like that too for the pilot. You know, I really, in other words, things that can be interchanged. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you've got a pilot who can fly well. I don't know. I haven't been in it yet, so I don't know. Most co-pilot seats can,
right?
Right. Most co-pilot seats can handle power management and stuff, shielding and everything. I just haven't been in this.
Not even just co-pilot seats. You know, have you ever seen like some people when you have a multi-crew ship, you have to tell people, when you turn the power on in the turret,
don't turn off your ship. No, they said They said MFDs would be assignable later. I'm just saying in these two-seater ships like this, you know, I hope they do keep that modularity aspect of, you know, between the pilot and co-pilot. That's all. True. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, bro. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem.
Good words as always from Odie. All right. Last but not least, we've got MT. Oh, MT Stunner's here. Awesome. MT, you there?
Hey,
how are you?
Good, man.
Good.
Hey, you're way too nice to say it, so I'll say it for you. It's not a ship, so, you know, how good can it be?
Okay. You're going to say it for me.
Just kidding. It's, you know, RSI or CIG always makes beautiful ships.
Yeah.
And they did it again. You know, the point I wanted to make is that I agree with Kai completely. The CIG is never going to allow any ship to be overpowered. They're going to do rebalancing, you know, before the game comes out.
Yeah.
But they're in the perfect storm for making money because all the controversy about is the ship going to be overpowered? Do I have to have it for it to be the meta? Just helps them sell more.
Let me ask you a question. I've heard, I don't necessarily have a complete position on this. I have a little bit of a position. There's a lot of people who talk about, I'm going to try to say this as gently as possible, the ethics of CIG's marketing. Okay. Is it good business to put out these commercials? Pop said it earlier. He says, man, I ain't thinking about a ship. Then I see one of these commercials and I'm ready to freaking yank my credit card out. Right. Is that just good marketing? Is it or attractive marketing? Is it deliberate? Is it ethically bad because they know that there's a bunch of us suckers out here who just will keep spending money, even though they put clauses in? I mean, how do you view when you see these trailers? I mean, do you get excited from them from a consumer standpoint? Do you get excited from them from a backer standpoint? Do you get excited because you think, wow, this shows some potential of what this game will be like when I'm finally playing? I mean, how do these commercials hit you? Because there are people who actually don't like when CIG does this. They think that it's just them being money grubbing, and messing with people's minds. And then there are other people who see it as a opening and like kind of like watching one of Star Jump's videos. It shows the potential of where the game could be. Where does it sit with you when you see these commercials? Uh-oh, MT, he muted. He may not even know he muted. You muted if you're the air MT. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is.
Am I here?
Yep, you're here
sorry
now.
About that.
It's okay.
I said that I'm glad that I am not on camera because I'd have to cover the sucker on my forehead too.
Okay.
But I know what people are saying when it comes to the ethics of it, but again, unintentionally or intentionally, I think they know what they're doing because of the community and how invested we are and passionate we are, and all the drama that unfolds by the community whenever something gets released.
Yeah,
I just think it all feeds into it together.
Well, let me ask you this: if these were kids under 16 or 15 years old or 12, there'd be lawsuits saying that they're suckering kids in, probably, right?
Yeah, but again, you have to.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I know I resist. I have to put up mental blockers sometimes. I'm actually sitting here now after seeing this commercial. I'm thinking about trading in my Scorpius for this. And the only reason why is because I'm much more a support person than I am a fighter person. And now that I've seen this and the potential of it, this is way more attractive to me than the combat side of it. But that's just, that's it. I'm thinking about Melton and Swipping, but it's watching, I don't know. But anyway, I won't wear you out with that question. I'm just
no, that's okay.
Curious.
I get where you're coming from. The other one quick thing I did want to say, just because I had never thought of it, and it's an easy fix for CIG, and I'm sure they've already thought of this too, but I thought Ray's Guide brought up a good point when he did a video on the Entiries. It's one thing to have functions that the co-pilot has access to, and another thing for those functions to be interactive to the point where they can't just box that other position, and it not to be a true multiplayer ship. So I'm sure CIG has that in mind, but that's just something I hope that I thought it was a good point that he made. You don't want the functions to be where they're not having to look around or aim to the point where you can two-box.
Right.
One player can two-box a ship or three-box a ship.
Right. That is a good point. I saw his video. I mean, I saw you posted it, but I haven't watched it yet. And I always watch Ray's Guide. I love watching Ray's Guide. So thanks for telling me about that. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, no problem. Hey,
All
have
right,
a great
Stunner.
day, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Alrighty. I don't know who came in first, so I'm going to bring in Ender because he hasn't been yet, and then I'm going to bring in Jay, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we've got Star Jump Ender here. Hey, Ender, how are you?
Oh, I gotta mute you. Hey, buddy, what's up?
You had to mute whoever that was. Okay.
Yeah, no, I had to mute. I don't like hearing my own voice.
Oh, your own voice.
So I had to
drive
mute
yourself. I
Soul
got you.
Citizen for a second. I drive myself nuts.
That's okay.
So a couple of things. One, thank you for mentioning Star Jump. And yeah, part of the reason I think CIG is so excited about a lot of things, especially like when they talk to Grim, they mention it quite a bit. Grim knows that the cinematics he makes definitely sell ships,
Mhm.
right? And CIG 100% knows that the commercials that they make sell ships. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think they're selling their ships. Eventually, I think they should go over to microtransactions. Grim says the same thing. Both of us are in agreement on that. Microtransactions are really where they're going to make their money, but that's actually not what I poked in here for.
Okay.
Shady and Shady has said, yeah, I know there, other people who say that. And you guys were talking earlier about the people who want to be Luke Skywalker. The problem with that is there are a minority of people who want to be Luke Skywalker, right? And Kaizen even mentioned it, and you even mentioned it. It's a minority of people, but when they start talking, they go, nobody is ever going to want to be sitting in a ship doing nothing for 10 minutes just to push that button for that one time. What they don't understand is there's so many of us who really only give a crap about the RP of it.
Yeah.
I'll sit in an Antares in the back all day long just to be the guy that hit the button at the right moment to make that crucial hit. I don't care about sitting on a gun. I don't care about being the best of the best. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if that means that I have to be a crew member, an engineer, a medic, whatever, I don't care. And there's a lot of us out there who think the same way. We're like, look, okay, I'm not the hero of the whole story, but this is such a much bigger game than just that one little battle that we're doing, where it doesn't matter if I'm the little guy in that, because I might get another chance another time to be the guy that hits that button and blows up that ship at just the right time, whatever.
I love the idea of the cooperative play too. The fact that you and that pilot, you've got to be working in synchronicity, communicating with each other, and it's important. I know that somebody here, I saw somebody in chat earlier say this kind of looks like it was from Squadron 42 or a segment from it. I can understand why they would say that. But I think the other side of the coin is that this shows, and Kai said this, it's about what are the possibilities of what we can do in gameplay, right? I never thought about, and I said this earlier, I never thought about these ships working in tandem as squadrons. Because so far in the game, I've always just seen people using them singularly when they've gone out. Even with the piracy guys, they'll go out with one mantis one day. I've never seen nobody fly 3 or 4 mantises together and shut something down, like boom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And now that I've seen this, it's like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. It's cool.
Wow.
The possibilities are there. I do have one question to ask you. Is your buddy, your partner in crime, is he slobbering because they opened with the Kraken? Did he catch that?
He caught it. He's got an idea, and you know what? Seeing this, before this video came out, I was like, nah, it's just coincidence, right? Seeing this, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of thinking the same thing he is. It would make sense if when Pyro comes out, and possibly when Nyx comes out, but maybe when Pyro comes out, if we're not gonna see an exterior only, it's always gonna blow up. This is never gonna be a ship that you can take over. Kraken as a enemy ship at some point.
It was in the Pyro stuff with Jax. They showed it in there with Jax.
It's been showing up a whole lot lately. I thought he was just wishful thinking, but the moment he said, "Well, look, here it is in this too. There's a blown up javelin and there's a Kraken in their ship." I was like, damn, he's right. it's entirely possible that it would be great to see a Kraken as like a bad guy ship that when it sees the enemies, you see ships taking off of it, and
that's all it has to do. Really, that's all it has to do. Is an NPC piece in the game.
That's all it needs to do.
That's all it has to do, and that would it would make sense, as you mentioned. It would make sense because again, moving around in Pyro, the scale of that particular system would dictate that fighters just can't appear out of anywhere.
Yep.
They have
so
to.
It would make sense, man.
Yeah, they have to. Wow, I didn't think about that. Wow.
I wasn't either, and now I'm thinking real heavy about it because I've seen it more and more lately, and I want to see it happen. I want it to happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Ender. Well, thanks, man. You got to come back on the show soon, bro. All right.
Hey, man. Anytime. I'm feeling much better now, so just hit me up.
Good. All right. Love you. Thanks for coming by, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
All righty. That's a great guy. If you guys haven't checked out Star Jump and the team of Star Jump of Starlet, Ender, and Grim, please do. They're just a great team of people. They contribute so much to the community. Ender is notoriously known for his support with charities and gaming, and they're just great people. They're always very friendly and very supportive of us as well. So thanks again, Ender, for stopping by. Let's bring back Jay, and then we're going to move on to our final topic. Jay, you back?
Yeah. Just a quick point on your marketing point. The commercials, all of them are pretty. They are wonderful for my fantasy element to what Star Citizen, is trying to reach for. But in no way is this actually anywhere near actual gameplay now or ever, I would suspect. I mean, just the EMP standpoint, they don't do anything when shields are up. Except in this commercial, it looks like they go through shields, they shut down anything, anytime. And, and I imagine it's just a disconnect that the marketing people aren't actually playing the game and know all these things to really articulate that in their commercials.
Yeah. Let me ask this, because and again, this is a part of the argument, right? If it may not happen now, but maybe it happens later, is that bad advertising? Is that it? Because okay, I'll give you a real basic thing that people complained about. People said, "Oh, they'll say playable now." Some people have a real issue with that statement, playable now, because it gives people the impression that they can come into the game and what I just saw in this trailer, I can do now.
Yep.
Right. And those of us who've been around for a while know, yeah, that's what's coming. Maybe one day, but do you think that there's I mean, I don't know. You say maybe the marketing people don't know. I don't know whether it's that the marketing people are projecting, or because I'm not sure if they're saying it won't ever happen. And I do have a question about that space of what you can do now versus later, or even if they may even intend to say you could do something later, but maybe in the end they weren't able to deliver.
So from my understanding of EMP, that's not even later what is being showed here. So that's where I think marketing is completely disconnected.
The EMP here is doing what? It's shutting down the power.
It's going through shields.
Do shields don't right now? Wait a minute, let me remember now. In EMP in the game now, even with your shields up, EMP affects your ship.
That's incorrect. You got to have one of your shield facings down in order to.
Or it doesn't lower them. I thought they started going lower and lower and then finally off.
No, you got to shoot the shield.
You have to shoot them down.
Yep.
Okay, I stand corrected.
And then the EMP, and that's I'm not in the game myself, but from what I view of pirate videos and that sort of thing, that's how that works.
They have to take them down ballistically or energy-wise, and then they can EMP and it hits. I thought I saw, or at least I thought when I played, that I've been with people who did multiple hits on EMPs and the shields finally went down, and then they hit and it knocked out components. But that's what I thought I remember.
Multiple hits on EPs is you're dealing with a warlocks typically, which have a smaller EMP component.
Right.
But when going against a size 3 power, it needs more of them.
Way more to do it.
Right.
Okay.
To knock out a larger size component.
Okay. Okay.
And that's why you're seeing the multiple hits simultaneously.
Okay. Okay. I'm reading what Red Baron says. He says he uses the Raven. Okay. You are right, Red. They hit twice. Okay, I'm not sure what he's saying there. Okay. All right. Well, then that's saying some bad.
Yeah, it's pretty, but I don't think it's ever
fanciful,
coming to the game
fanciful.
in this way. Exactly.
It doesn't work the way the game works. Okay. All right. Fair
Thanks.
enough. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming in, Jay. I appreciate the correction. Okay. Let's move on. We're on our final segment here. I actually have a fourth segment, but I'm not sure when I have time to get to it. But we're going to see. As I mentioned, they did put out a third video. And this is the one that we're used to seeing that they do whenever a new patch comes out. And it's the 3.18 one. So I want to go through this, let you take a look at it, and I'm going to present the question. So if you haven't seen it yet, if you have, you can watch it again. Let's check it out.
Dizer que não me quer, jurar que nunca mais se deita aqui chorando até de manhã. Me perdoa, meu amor, mexendo pelo coração. Vai, me pede pra voltar. Não posso mais viver sem teu sorriso iluminando a manhã. Me perdoa, meu amor. Me beija com sabor de quem nunca esqueceu. Vai, me pede pra voltar. Não posso mais viver sem teu sorriso iluminando a manhã. Me perdoa, meu amor. Me beija,
There she is, playable now. All right, Lasting Legacies, featuring groundbreaking improvements under the hood with the implementation of persistent entity streaming. Oh, wow. Thank you, Midgards. Thank you for that follow. We appreciate that. Thank you. Or was that implementation of persistent entity streaming, the addition of salvage, a complete overhaul of the cargo system, exciting new prison missions, and mysterious locations to explore, exploit for resources. Star Citizen Alpha 3.18 changes the game in ways you will never forget. There is one thing that I will say to lead into this, and that is the fact that it has been years since we've had a patch with so much impact at one given time. Some people even say this is comparable to 3.0. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe it is, but there has been definitely impact with this particular patch in the game. And so I want to get your thoughts on what we just watched a second ago. There were a lot of elements in there. And so what I'm going to ask when you guys come in to talk to me, because there are quite a few people in the queue already and raring to go, I want you to tell me just one or two things, because there's a list of things that impressed you with this new patch, things that you're looking forward to doing, or maybe things that you've already done. Maybe you tested them in the PTU and you recommend that people try them out now that the game is out. But I'd like to know just one or two, because there's a lot of things I want you to leave room for other people to be able to share something. So I'm going to start bringing folks in, and I'm going to go in the order of how people came in last time. So bear with me, guys, if you came in, whoever was first. I don't know who it was because I looked up and everybody was in there. So I'm going to bring in Red first here. And Red, are you there?
Yes, I'm here again.
All righty. Yeah, so tell me your thoughts about this whole 318, the commercial, and something that really stands out for you.
Yeah, the commercial is great as usual, as they always do. I have only a bit of... yeah, I know the Starfarer needs a rework. So they might use a different ship to shoot at next time.
Okay.
And I think also it's a nice tip that you don't go solo in a big multi-cruise ship, else you get robbed, right? At least I only saw one guy in that Starfarer. Yeah, what I actually liked, what impressed most, is still the persistence and the cargo boxes they put in. That you actually that they are physicalized. I think that's a pretty nice feat they
do you
put
like
in.
the grid? Do you like the grid thing that things do snap into place, or it doesn't make a difference? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because you use it for the cargo boxes in the Vulture, the bigger ship, what's it called, the Reclaimer, and all the other cargo ships, of course. So that gives you a bit more realism that way. So I like really that. And another thing, and unfortunately not a lot of people are talking about this, is the racing. The racing on the planets is really nicely done. And I hear that's also inspired by some people of the community. So that's pretty nice that they got that in. And it's working pretty fine. I see a lot of people using this racing track now. So I think they did it better than the first time around. I'm not sure if you remember the first time they did racing in this game. Yeah, I did it as well, but I can see why people didn't do this regularly. But this one, I think, is one to stay. It's easy to pick up, to go there, and then set your time.
Yeah.
So,
well, what's nice is that they've added missions. There's multiple tracks, and they're all different.
Yeah.
So it keeps some variety there too, which is nice for the backers.
Yeah.
But okay. So
it's not only spaceships. It's even what's it called? This small thing.
Which one?
The Grey Cat.
The Grey Cat track. Yeah.
That's really nice.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It is.
Yeah. So we have for every vehicle, there's something to do in racing. So I think that's a nice addition.
Okay. All right.
There's more, but I don't want to steal everything away.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you, bro.
Okay.
All righty. Let me bring in Pops in space next. Pops, you there?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I just want to say one thing because I'm gonna let everybody else speak everything else.
Okay.
I love the music.
Oh, you love the music. Yeah. That's the second time they've gone with the whole samba type of thing. They did it when the 300 series reworks came out. They did it then too. And I thought it was very kind of cool that they did that.
Yeah.
Different.
And from Ipanema.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. Well, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but Pedro's from down there. So if he came up with it, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know what I mean? That's where he lives. So I wouldn't be surprised. But it is great music, Pops. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All righty. Let me bring in Fist to Face next. Fist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to actually, I got to echo with Popsy because I was like, when I saw the video and I was like, okay, interesting choice here. I was like, all right, the music is cool. It's like, you know how they do, you put something like that too in an action-packed filled video. So it kind of throws you off for a minute.
Right. It's not the music you expect to hear. Right. I get it. Yeah. But it fits.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right. Because I was like, wow, that's an interesting choice. Okay. And then, I dug it. I enjoyed it. I definitely would have to say I liked all the cinematics in it.
Okay.
In the video, but that was my my choice to say about the video.
Any feature that you saw that stands out that you want to try out?
To be honest with you, not really though.
Okay.
Because we touched based on it when we went in 318. So, everything is pretty much. I'm like, okay, all right. The only thing I will say is the Vulture.
Okay.
Because again, I have to try that out.
Okay, the salvage piece. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's bring in Odie, and then we'll bring in FC last. Odie, you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the video, I thought that it was whimsical, and just like you, I remember the 300i commercial, kind of like a romantic, what do they call it? The Paris is the city of love or whatever.
Yeah.
With a French singer. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it was nice to see the devs kind of have fun with it, because I know they've been slogging for the last 6 months on this patch at least. So it's good for them to get it out there, have fun with the the
animation
preview video.
Everything. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And I hope we get a lot of those animations in the game, and as well the ones that we saw on the ISC.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah. They said they're having fun. Well, he warned us on that one though. He told us. He said they were really just putting out some stuff to just have fun. So, but it'd be nice.
No, but they messed up though, because they showed us that they can do this.
Oh.
So now we
now
need
we're gonna want it, right?
You got no excuse now. You can't be like, oh, we're not sure if that'll actually work. And
you want to see people launch off a toilet? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
Hey, think about it. You know how CIG like to adapt certain tech.
Mm-hmm.
You could adapt that to other stuff. You know.
True.
I mean, maybe
sitting on a grenade, maybe. Yeah, I guess so.
And what the blood splatters. Okay, I wouldn't take it that far, but I mean, I'm sure they could use. Think about it. That tech could be used to like a fire hose.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Put out fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
But as far as like the patch goes, the things I'm looking forward to the most, hands down, would be the other locations, like the derelict locations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those look pretty cool, and I love like FPS stuff. Is what I mainly do in the game.
Yeah.
And the other thing would be the salvage. I don't salvage though, but I'm glad it's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Like it is something that I'll dabble in, possibly, right? But even if I never touch it, I really like the fact that it's there. And I don't know if you showed the Vulture cinematic.
Yeah, we did it. That was the first thing we opened on. It was.
That was the first thing you did. Okay. That Vulture cinematic is what I hope we see more of in the game. I want it to be like that dense, right? And I mean, I don't know if you remember from the cinematic, they showed extra functionality, like the tractor beam for the vehicles working, and then the claw for the reclaimer working.
Yes.
I want that to be normal.
Yes.
Okay. I want us to be so used to seeing that around that we take it for granted. Because I think that when we get to the stage where we take a lot of features and stuff for granted, then CIG has done a great job, because now it's just so second nature to us to have it there. We don't even think about it. Like clouds are amazing, right? But now, unless maybe you look in the screenshot or see a video of them, you don't really notice them that much because they're always there.
Right.
But people forget there was a time before clouds. Remember, we had like the 2D layer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you go through it, it's like, wow, it kind of takes you out of it because it's, I don't know, it's not very believable, right? But now we have volumetric clouds, okay? And that brings us to my last point, which is rivers.
Yeah.
Now, I know people may be thinking, oh, rivers, there's no like content associated with them. I mean, there's a little bit, like resource gathering, all that stuff or whatever. But you need to understand, the more mature river tech gets, we get to what I am looking forward to the most, which is roads.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
If
Roads,
we can have
lava, foliage, all types of stuff starts to make sense. You're right. Yeah.
Exactly. Can you imagine the Daymar Rally with an actual like dust road? It's like burning up here and there. You have to connect like waypoint. So much can be done with it. And actually, now that we have the the holograms for the racetracks, right? Couldn't they figure out a way for organizers to deploy them on a route so they can be used for a particular race, so you can make ad hoc races instead of something that's dedicated,
Yeah.
If they can just mature this tech, especially the tech, because I want to be able to like circumnavigate planets. I'll just take out my ranger, they push back the ranger. So anyway, that's
I love it.
I don't know. I think it would be amazing if they add roads. And then another thing is, I hope they do this, is we get waterfalls, bridges, right, to traverse the rivers. And I think if they do that, then the world can actually start to feel more believable, because a lot of times it's usually just around like the city areas, and then maybe you can have vistas when you're going around the planet. But if you can actually have stuff to do, like, I don't know, maybe if on certain planets, if they can make it so that you can't fly, okay?
Yeah.
And then they can bring in like, land vehicles. Like they could adapt like a Spartan, use that as a chassis, and attach a trailer to it or whatever, and then we can haul cargo that way. It's not something that I may particularly want to do, but I want it to be in the game as an option for those who want to do it. And I think it just makes the game a lot more believable, It grounds the game, So that's why like I'm looking forward to that. Like rivers, the salvage and the derelict outposts.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned at the beginning of the show, we talked about what were the Easter eggs that we might see. And one of them was definitely that we saw that the Vulture's center door opened up, and we saw the grinder inside spinning, and we saw the tractor beams coming in and pulling a piece of metal in. and we saw the claw from the reclaimer shoot out and grab a ship. That was really cool, you know.
I was like, please tell me, because you know what I was hoping, right? What I was thinking as I was watching it, I was like, oh, look, this patch has been in PTU at least for the last 4 months, right?
Right. Yep.
But then they've been working on it for, months before then.
Right.
I was hoping that because they have to branch it off, right? And they branched it off, when was it, like November last year, right? I was hoping that in that time they've been working on this, right? And that stuff that they showed us in that trailer actually exists in engine right now, and they're just waiting to like clean it up and then add it to a patch.
Well,
if they do that,
you'd be happy, huh? Well, I would say this: the one thing that I was excited about, but slightly disappointed, but it was very promising. In the sand caves, I went in with Pops and Fist, and someone else went with us, and they're beautiful. First off, even though they're particles and volume, I don't know, they're volumetric light. It was just really, really cool. But they had those little creatures in there.
Yeah, they're like centipede type guys.
We picked the things up, and when you pick them up, their legs are like moving and stuff. And I'm like, what was so promising about that is I can't wait until we have creatures in the game.
Yes, critters.
Because
right?
to know whether or not that thing was safe to pick up or not, you know what I mean? Or when you get out of your ship at night and you've got to walk over to a building and you don't know if there's something else out there. I'm tired of worrying about humans. I want something else in the game to worry about later on. So that was, at least they're moving toward this thing of, us having these entities, these creatures in the game. So that's going to make me happy when that gets here. Okay.
Speaking about that though, what do you think they should do first? Do you think they should introduce like, a predator? Or
absolutely.
Prey?
They've already outlined
introduce ambient life, like birds and insects.
Well, any type of fauna to me is cool. I mean, whether it's just, even if it's just there for us to see, like when we had the little bugs flying around and stuff, I got impressed with that. But I definitely want to see the apex stuff. I want to see the boreal stalker. I want to see the pyro, the crab from there. Those two things are two things as far as, as things that we have to worry about. Those little crawly things, they're kind of cool in caves. There's so much that they could create in the game, but my thing is, like you said earlier, it's a matter of populating the worlds. Every planet or moon doesn't have to have something, obviously, but there are some places. When I go in a cave, I want, maybe if it's a sand cave, I know that there's a certain type of creature that dwells in those type of caves, which means that I've got to be prepared, or I know that a certain amount of people have to come with me, or if I go by myself, I'm taking a risk. Do I, maybe if I don't use a light, and maybe if I just use the red light that comes from my gun, that's what I have to use and not awaken this thing. I just want to have these different aspects of creatures, of how we have to respond to them, how they respond to us. Some of them, they may look scared, deadly, but they're passive. Other things you have to wonder if, or even plant life. If is this plant going to freaking raise up and eat me? There's so much stuff that they could do. So I'm just looking forward to all that cool stuff.
I think that CIG's main issue with all that is because they like to take things to, the maximum amount of fidelity, right?
Yes.
It's going to be animated, right? It's going to have to, I have to, I will do for a plant to eat you, like what are they called, the Venus flytraps, whatever. For them to eat you, to attack you, whatever, it has to be animated, and then it has to impact your character inside. And then on top of that, does that mean that maybe if it bites you, you get poisoned,
right?
And then you need to use a particular type of
right.
I don't know.
No, you're right. That's what I mean. I want that level of complexity about it. Right. I agree. I agree 100%.
It's going to be interesting. Yep. I don't know. I think the first one we're going to get is going to be like the Sand Cave. It's just going to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll attack other creatures, but not us.
Yeah.
Because if it's an attack, I want it removing limbs. Okay.
Okay, Odie.
If we're going to take it there, right?
Yeah.
But I know we don't have anything like that in the game so far. You can't even shoot those limbs up, so I don't know how we're going to do that. But
we'll see. All right, Odie. Thanks, man. We appreciate you. All right.
No problem.
I'm going to close it up here with Fast Cart, our co-producer here at the Soul Citizens. FC, how are you, man?
Hey, everybody. How are you doing, Greg?
Good.
Yeah, so you say you want one or two things that impressed me, because I think on the first person or last person, I'm going to hit that question that you posed. The peak staying in the same place. So that means persistent is more in the game than what it used to. That makes it feel like a more real MMO to me. If that makes sense.
It does.
So, yeah, just so consistent. Also racing. I'm looking forward to the racing.
Racing.
Yeah, the racetrack.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you, were you looking more at the air racing or vehicle racing or both?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
News over toured in chat, but I think when you talked about it earlier, we talked about music. The Cutlass Black commercial had tango music in it, so that was the other thing that it
from back in the day. Yes, it did. Yeah, they have used other genres of music before in the past. That is true, and I think they did it also when they did the Valentine's Day thing. Once they did like a love thing that they did with that as well. Different types of music, different genres.
And I just had a few more things on the bank over the course of the show that I had these thoughts. But I think CIG is falling community. I've heard of entitlement before.
FC, hold on one second. FC, hold on one second. For some reason, you're clipping big time. Guys, give me a second here.
ODZ was clipping too before.
I thought it was ODZ, but it might be something on my end. Give me a minute here. I don't have any filters on. I don't know why you are clipping like that. Usually you don't clip.
Yeah, no, what's going for me. I thought it was him. I sent him a DM. So ignore the DM.
Yeah, I don't know why you're clipping like that. That's really strange. Can you talk for me one more second?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let me change my.
Yeah, I don't know why he's clipping like that, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. This just started out of somewhere out of nowhere and haven't really done anything here to change anything.
My headset, that's easy for me.
Yeah, but it's not you. It's like a gate or something. Something's like cutting you off like a limiter, and you're not maxing out on the audio. I'm just checking one more thing here. No, it's not that either. Okay, anyway, go ahead, FC. Just hopefully it's not volume related, but go ahead and talk. I think we were hearing most of what you were saying.
So I was making a comment about CIG in the community. Ever heard of entitlement error before? You ever heard of entitlement error when you try to log in?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of errors at the beginning. Cyberwolf, thank you so much for that resub. There are a lot of entitlement error. There's a 3009 error. There's like 3 or 4 different ones that people are having difficulty even getting past the launcher and getting into the game. The entitlement thing happens once when you log into the game usually, and then once you've done that once, it doesn't do it anymore. But people are having problems even getting past that. I don't know if there are any fixes. Last night there were people trying to do it all over, but yesterday I was doing the show and everything, so I didn't get a chance to dig into it yet. But I'm sure some people have some posts out there and some information that might help people with getting past some of the stuff, because people did eventually get in, but people were trying multiple times to get past many of the errors that were happening yesterday. And I haven't talked to anybody about how things are going today. So
about great commercial. CIG higher contributed from the communities. That's why the commercials are so good. So when CIG sees commercial, they try to bring the audience or the content creators who commercial. So that's probably why, the commercials are so great.
Yeah. Well, they've done a great job. And like Pop said, these commercials definitely draw you in from a marketing standpoint. And as I'm thinking about melting a ship, I'm thinking about changing my RSI Scorpius to the Antares, because like I said, I like playing more a support role than a lead role in combat. But we'll see.
And one last point.
Yeah.
Do you remember the opening of the Kraken commercial? You had the guy drinking coffee?
Yeah.
In this last commercial, the what is it called? The Legacies commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same guy on the starter at the very beginning.
Oh, really? I have to go back. I'll have to go.
I think that's him. It looked like him.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and take a look. Maybe it is. I'll have to go back and take a look at it.
The commercial is about to open now, so you can just let it play and look at the guy in the star fair. That's
Okay.
him.
Okay, I will
think that's him.
I will take a look at it. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, listen, FC, since you're here, you might as well stay here because I'm gonna wrap.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to everybody. I don't know, I did something with my mixer just now and it just acted up. I don't know if it was buffering or what, but your audio is fine now. So I'm not sure what was causing that.
So they're saying I'm low on a Twitch. But,
Okay, I just raised him up some. I had pulled him down earlier because I thought he was clipping, but hopefully you guys can hear him better now. Excuse me. Yeah, so thank you guys for that. I really do appreciate all the great comments and stuff that you guys gave us for today's show. And let's talk about what we have coming up. Today is PodSat Saturday, as you guys know. This is when we partnered with both Paul Shelley over at the Astro Pub and the guys over at Relay to give you guys a whole Saturday afternoon and evening of nothing but fun-filled conversations about Star Citizen. And I guarantee you, Paul's going to have a lot to say, and Relay will have a lot to say today with 318 coming out. So when we leave from here, we're going to probably send you guys over to, I'm not sure if Paul is on. I don't see
I'll
him.
check.
Yeah, I'm looking now. I don't see him. I see a lot of people on, but I don't see Paul yet. But anyway, while Fast Card is looking up somebody for us to raid, that'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern time today. That's just a little over an hour, 2 hours from now, where you guys get to join in and hang out with Paul and the folks over at the Captain's Table. And then after that, once again, the guys that Relay, the OGs of Star Citizen streamers, they'll be on at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Tomorrow, we are doing our show called Enough Already. Not like enough already, but enough already. And what we're going to be talking about is what does it mean to have what you need on your ship to do stuff? And that's not now, but more like later on. What are going to be the things you've got to give great consideration to later on when it comes to being able to operate within the Star Citizen universe? So we're going to be covering, covering that on tomorrow. And hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. If you guys saw Thursday's show on the briefing, the design brief, where they did the thing about engineering, that's the type of
4.0, you mean?
That's the stuff. Yeah, it was called the design brief. It's called the design brief.
Okay.
Journey to 4.0 was the tail end of it, but the show was called Design Brief Engineering. Okay, they just said the road to 4.0. I'm focusing on the design brief part, not the road to 4.0 part. That's what we're going to be talking about, is those type of subjects, because they broke down this whole thing about engineers and their importance in the game. We're going to be talking about the same thing about security, talking about stocking your ship, talking about medical, all those things that say, do you have all the things you need before you decide to go out into the verse, whether it's for a short mission or a long mission. So that's what we're going to be talking about on this Sunday. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Anyway, we are going to get ready to set up for a raid. Fast Card has given me several options here.
That's a couple.
I like those two, but I want to see. Oh boy, Tarada's out there with 700 people watching him. Holy Wazoli. He's probably out there flying around in the verse. Captain Richard. We haven't rated Captain Richard in a while.
We haven't rated him. That's why.
We'll do Captain Richard tonight. Everybody loves Captain Richard. He's our friend. So we're going to set up a raid for Captain Richard.
Don't forget about Soul Talk on Thursdays.
Yes. Yes. Don't forget to plug Fast Card Show for Thursday. Soul Talk. Don't forget it, guys. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. All right. We're going to send you guys over to Captain Richard when you guys get over there.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry, one thing. Tonight is daylight saving time, so make sure that you set your hour clock, your clock at least in the U.S. So we'll be an hour early global, but on time in the U.S. So go ahead.
I know that's important, Fast Card, to tell people, but I'm sure they'll wake up either later on time tomorrow, but that's fine. Hopefully you guys will set your clocks back. Anything else, Fast Card, you want to say before we go?
I can start singing. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello. No, go ahead.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And by the way, thank you for those of you who watched my show last night that I did on the People's Radio. Really appreciate the support there. Don't forget to get Captain Richard our love when you get over there. Tell him we said hi from the Soul Citizens, and we'll see you guys soon. Hopefully make it tomorrow. You guys take care of yourselves. Peace, love, and soul. Talk to you soon.